Mr. and Mrs. North, starring Barbara Britton and Richard Denning.
Present to George and me.
All this and George, too?
I can't think of a nicer place to spend a honeymoon. Can you, Jerry?
Yeah, Woodlawn, Grant's Tomb.
That's strange. The house is all dark. Well, maybe your Aunt Clara hasn't arrived yet. Oh, but she started up early this morning to get the place ready for us. Looks like the windows are all boarded up.
Probably expecting the North.
Maybe George was right. About what? Well, he's always felt kind of funny about this house. I didn't want him to come up until it was all ready. What do you mean he felt funny? Well, it's been closed up ever since my uncle died, and somehow the real estate people were never able to rent it. You mean it's haunted?
Wipe that grin off your face, Mrs. North. It may not even have a dead body inside.
It's going to rain. We better hurry up. Why, it's nice and weird. I'm certainly glad you kids were able to drive out with me tonight. I'm glad Aunt Clara remembered to have the electricity turned on.
Yeah, it's a help.
You and Clara. She's been here. The covers are off the furniture. Well, maybe she's upstairs. Well, let's see.
Oh, wait a minute. I left the keys in the car. I better get them here.
Wait. Put up the windows before it rains.
Okay.
Aunt Clara. Aunt Clara. Not in the kitchen. I can't understand it. Maybe she had to go out and get some groceries. Oh, but she at least would have left me a note. This isn't like Aunt Clara. I'm worried. I bet the bulbs are missing. Jerry would come in. Oh, look. He's not there. Jerry! Ball. Did your aunt play billiards? No. And that billiard room has been closed and locked ever since my uncle passed away. Well, somebody's opened it. Shall we go look? Not in the dark. Oh, are there any candles? I don't know. I haven't been here in 3 years. Oh, I have Jerry's lighter. Where's the fuse box? Oh, it's in the closet under the stairs. Ah! Stored it in there. He was a doctor, you know. That wasn't one of his patients. No. I've seen it often in his study. Are you sure? Yes. Listen.
Man, Helen, wait a minute.
Jerry, where'd you come from?
The front door was locked, so I had to go around the back. What's going on around here anyway?
That's what we'd like to know. We saw something in the living room. They wouldn't work just a minute ago. Jerry, look.
Any signs of your aunt?
Well, she's been here, but there's no sign of her now.
Oh, now, wait a minute. Is your aunt by any chance a practical joker?
No, but my uncle was.
And your uncle is no longer with us.
We're not sure of that, Jerry. Well, I am. I attended his funeral.
Don't move. Just keep talking out loud. I'm going to take a look around.
Golly, I'm sure sorry I got you into all this. Oh, don't be ridiculous. I wouldn't have missed it for anything.
Hey!
What in the world is that? Jerry! Jerry! Jerry, you come down here this minute.
Yes, dear?
Are you all right?
I'll wait until I see the x-rays. Now, what did you want?
Well, you sounded as though you were chasing someone.
I was.
What's all the racket about?
Who's this?
I don't know.
What are you doing here?
Working.
But this is my aunt's house. Are you a friend of hers?
I haven't had the pleasure.
And what do you mean you're working?
I'm a writer, working on a novel named Joe Torrance.
Joe Torrance. Never heard of him.
You and 100 million others. But I'm hoping to rectify that oversight.
How long have you been here?
Week, 10 days? I always lose track of time when I work.
Don't you have any other place to live?
Not until I get an advance on this book. And I'll need a couple of more weeks to finish it.
Where is my Aunt Clara?
Who?
The woman who owns this house. She was here this morning. You must have seen her.
My dear young lady, when I work in a book, I concentrate. I permit no interference. And that includes your Aunt Clara.
Well, I'd suggest you do your concentrating somewhere else. Now, why don't you pack up your typewriter and get out?
Jerry, in all this storm? Oh, my husband doesn't mean what he says, Mr. Torrance. He's always very kind to young authors in need of help. He's a publisher.
Who?
Oh, my husband here. He's Gerald North.
Never heard of him. Well, now that that's settled, get moving.
Wait a minute, Jerry. Did you roll that billiard ball down the stairs?
Billiard ball.
And that phony laugh. Don't deny that was you.
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't even know you were in the house. As a matter of fact, this house has been as quiet as a tomb until...
Until when?
Well, until late last night or early this morning. I don't know. I lose track of time when I work. I thought I heard a shot. It sounded like it came from the cellar. I looked, and there was no one there. Then I thought I heard a car disappear. I opened the door, and there was no car. Just pitch black.
What did you do then?
I went back to bed.
You're sure you didn't dream it? I know how authors are.
I didn't dream it. Nor did I dream about that car that drove up this morning. A woman came out.
Aunt Clara.
Then you did see her.
I said I saw a woman. I figured it was a real estate agent. Then she came in, and I locked the door to my room and waited.
Waited for what?
For her to go away,
And did she?
eventually. First she was putting around down here, and then I heard a scream.
No.
Then the car drove away.
Couldn't you see who it was?
The windows to my room are boarded up. When I got downstairs, the car had disappeared. And everything was quiet.
Do you suppose...
It's dead.
From now on, I'm going to listen to George. He never did like this place. Oh, Jerry.
That's lesson number 1 for the bride. Always listen to your husband. Goes for old married women, too.
Find anything?
Where's Torrance?
We thought he was with you. He started upstairs.
Yes, and I went up looking for him, but the door to the room he had been using was locked.
Locked?
I called to him and he answered, but his voice came from downstairs. You know, there's something funny about that guy. Why would he have the door to his room locked, and where did he disappear to? Wait a minute.
Hello. Hello. The phone's still out. Probably the storm.
Or someone could have cut the wires. Why was the door to your room locked?
I didn't know that it was.
You don't seem to know much of anything that goes on around here, do you?
I'm as much in the dark as you are.
Well, you're going to have to do a little good fiction when you try explaining to the law what you're doing trespassing on private property with a dead man stuffed into a clock.
Don't try to pin that dead man on me. I'll be glad to talk to the sheriff.
Sheriff of what?
Broad Hills. The nearest town from here.
How far is it?
5 miles.
Kind of a long walk in this rain, isn't it?
Why don't you ride over in your car?
I thought you didn't hear us drive up. Now, let's cut out this double talk. If you're so anxious to talk to the sheriff, I'll drive you over. But first, give me the keys to my car.
Oh, you play the publisher on and off, don't you? Why would I take your lousy keys?
1, to make a getaway. 2, to keep me from going for the sheriff. And another thing, you recognize that man in the clock. Well, you're going to lie about that, too. Come on, you knew him, didn't you?
Yes, I knew him. But I didn't kill him. He and I went around with the same girl.
Well, now we're getting somewhere. So you fought over the girl?
No, we didn't fight. We had an argument. But that doesn't mean that I killed him.
That was the mysterious shot you heard in the cellar last night, and that's why you had to scare that woman away this morning.
I told you I didn't see him until we found him. What reason would I have to kill him anyway?
Jealousy. The oldest motive in the world. Now, give me those keys.
Get out of my way.
Mr. Torrance says he doesn't believe wrestling is on the level. Okay, Torrance, and what about boxing? Never lead with your right.
Jerry says only a sucker leads with his right.
All right, now take your shoes and socks off.
What for?
Well, I wouldn't like to see you running around in this storm barefoot.
I don't get it.
It seems Mr. Torrance doesn't like our company. Wow, that was close.
Oh, Jerry!
It's all right, darling. The light will be right on again in a minute. Torrance, you stay where you are. Torrance! Well, he's gone.
The body's gone too, Jerry.
Those muddy footprints in that puddle of water.
Where's Helen?
Helen, what happened?
Oh, something pushed me. Something cold and damp. I guess I fainted. Are you all right now? I guess so. Well, I'm not. For once, I've had enough, Jerry. Let's get out of here.
We can't.
Why not?
Because somebody stole the keys to the car.
Torrance?
I don't know. He didn't use it for his getaway.
Well, who else could have taken them?
Well,
I did. Unfortunately for you,
What is this? A holdup?
No, Mr. North.
How did you know my name?
I was here when you were watching, listening to you. I beg your pardon. My name is Amos Stoker.
If you aren't going to rob us, what do you want?
Death has come to this house, and it will come again. Stay where you are. Don't move. And there you are. Don't turn your heads.
You mean you're going to kill us?
Like you did the man in the clock?
A little while ago, you were accusing Mr. Torrance. What changed your mind?
Well, still a good possibility. After all, he ran out when he got the chance.
Yes, I know. If the young lady hadn't been away, I could have prevented that.
Mr. Stoker, you'll forgive my curiosity, but what did you do with the body?
It's outside, sitting in your car.
And my Aunt Clara. What have you done with her?
The lady with the white hair?
Yes. Where is she?
She's gone.
Gone? Gone where?
Just gone. That was earlier.
You didn't...
She shouldn't have come here when she did. Otherwise, it would all be over by now.
Now, look here, Mr. Stoker.
I wouldn't come any closer, Mr. North.
I just want to know what you're going to do, what you want.
I want Mr. Torrance. But you upset my plans. Why did you come here tonight and do that to me?
Well, we're very sorry, but we didn't exactly know your plans.
What do you want Torrance for? Has he done something to you?
Yes, he and the other man. So I'll wait for Mr. Torrance. He'll be back. Oh, yes, he'll be back.
But we haven't anything to do with that. Now, look, Mr. Stoker, why don't you give us the keys and let us get out of here? We'll make believe we never saw you before.
We certainly will. You can count on that.
You're lying. You'll go to the police and tell them about me. Then I know what they'll do. Oh, yes, I know.
But what can they do if you didn't murder anyone?
But I did, Mrs. North. I did.
Pam, what are we going to do? I don't know. I'm just worried about what he's doing to Jerry downstairs. Poor Aunt Clara. After giving me this house for a wedding present, and now
I don't think he did anything to your Aunt Claire, except maybe frighten her like he tried to with us. With the lights and the billiard ball and that crazy laugh.
Yes, but he admitted he killed the other man.
Well, that's just it. He seemed quite happy about that. He didn't seem to try to hide the fact that he's waiting now to kill Mr. Torrance.
Yes, but I've heard insane people kill anyone who gets in their way.
Yes, that's true. Right now, Mr. Stoker has the idea that we're in his way.
Some sheets or blankets around here. We could climb out the window.
It's too far to jump.
Helen,
If we could only get the door off the hinges.
with what?
I don't know.
Let's look for something. Here's a shoehorn. Any good?
Well, it might work.
So you see, Mr. North, there's nothing else I can do. It's not that I have anything against you,
But you can't kill all three of us.
but I have to. Don't you understand?
Now, look, Mr. Stoker, if you kill that man, the police will catch up with you eventually. So what good would it do to...
Let me remind you, they can only execute me once, no matter how many people I kill.
There, now for the bottom one. If we ever get downstairs, one of us will have to distract Stoker long enough for the other one to get away. Well, that's no good. You said the village was 5 miles away. So what can we do? Well, first, we've got to get to that fuse box. Oh, there. Now, if we can open the door far enough and pull it out of the lock.
It stopped raining. In the morning, it'll be fresh and green. It's always like that after the rain. Mr. Torrance will be back any minute now. We'd better get on with our business, Mr. North.
What makes you so sure he'll be back?
Because he left the manuscript of his book upstairs, I locked the door. He'll be back. Shall we go to the cellar, Mr. North?
The cellar. Oh, yes, that's where... Say, you seem to know your way around this house pretty well, don't you?
I ought to. I built it.
Is that so? Well, what do you know? I always thought Helen's Aunt Clara owned this house.
Yes, I sold it to the Clemsons. The doctor and I were good friends. I love this house.
Well, I certainly don't blame you. So you and old Doc Clemson were friends, huh?
Yes. That's why I had to scare Mrs. Clemson away this morning. She would have recognized me.
Oh, then you only scared her away. You didn't,
I don't kill without reason, Mr. North. If you and your companions hadn't been so foolhardy, you might have been spared all this. I think we're wasting time. It's getting late.
Just one more question. If you were so fond of this house, why in the world did you ever sell it?
I couldn't bear to live here after my wife died.
Oh, your wife?
Yeah. You see, I was married once. We came here to live right after our honeymoon, Anne and me.
I'll bet she was very beautiful.
Oh, yes. Anna was beautiful. Very beautiful. Strange. Nothing seemed the same after Anna died. But I've got my daughter. Oh, yes, I've got her. She takes care of me just like her mother did.
Well, then you ought to be able to understand how I feel about my wife.
Oh, I do, Mr. North. I do. That's why I put her upstairs with a friend. Why, she won't even hear the shot in the cellar.
Come on.
I think we're ready now, Mr. North.
You were telling me about your daughter, Mr. Stoker. Oh, you must be very fond of her, aren't you?
Yes. You see, they're trying to take her away from me.
Take her away? Well, I'm afraid I don't quite understand.
Torrance and the man I killed.
Oh, well, then I certainly don't blame you for feeling the way you do.
Oh, no. She's all I have in the world. I couldn't let him do that. I'm rid of one, and tonight I'll sit with Torrance. Then I'll put them both in your car and run them into the river. Don't you think that's only fair, Mr. North? What is that?
Thunder. Yes, probably the storm coming back.
I'm not so sure of that. Stay where you are. Don't move.
Listen, I think I hear someone coming in the back door.
Stay where you are. That sound came from out here.
Sorry I'm late, folks. This is Sheriff Miles.
Oh, yeah. Well, Torrance, I never thought I'd be glad to see you.
Well, I know you wouldn't believe anything I said, so when the lights went out, I figured I'd better try to find the sheriff.
What were those shots outside?
Stoker started shooting as soon as we drove up, so we had to open fire. My men are taking care of
Oh,
it.
he sure was crazy, wasn't he?
Oh, bad as a loon ever since his wife died. Had an obsession about his daughter running off with some man and leaving him alone.
I sure didn't know what I was getting mixed up to when I met her. Boy, that guy that was shot could have been me.
Where's the body?
Out in my car.
Oh, Miss Sanford, your Aunt Claire's been trying to reach you all day.
Oh, is she all right?
Oh, worried. She wanted to warn you about coming out here. We were on our way to check when we met this fellow running down the road. Oh, I'll get that other passenger out of your car.
I guess I ought to thank the power company. If those lights hadn't gone off when they did.
Jerry, dear, the power company had a little help.
Well, if you folks have finished playing games, I'm going upstairs and go to work.
Now, that's the way I like to hear my authors talk. Say, when you finish that epic, bring it around to my office. Might be able to do a little business.
Maybe I'll give you a break at that. I'll be out of here before noon, Miss Sanford.
You stay as long as you like. We're leaving for town. From now on, I want to see my love across a crowded room. Oh, by the way, what did you two do on your honeymoon?
None of your business.
Mr. and Mrs. North is directed by Ralph Francis Murphy. A John W. Loveton production. Produced by Federal Telefilm. Starring Barbara Britton and Richard Denning, featuring Francis DeSale. This has been a film presentation.